What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Sun Belt Syndicate. The OGs are back at it, right, TJ?
Oh, yeah. Back in live in effect, baby. Ready to go. It's not a super exciting week for preview, okay? I'm in my feelings a little bit because App State doesn't know how to keep the ball and score it inside of the – we'll get to it. But, geez, man, I'm not in a good mood.
Yeah, not a great one for our team this past week, but there wasn't a whole lot of great across the board. Luckily, we did have one big win for sure, another one that's kind of impressive that we'll talk about as well. But we are the Sun Belt Syndicate, Dominick, Crosetto, TJ Courman with you for week 4 preview, with you from the first kick to the last pitch, as we always like to say. I won't forget that this time. Brought to you in part by Don't Sleep Energy. Check them out at Amazon to add stuff to your cart. You know, everybody orders from Amazon. Throw some Don't Sleep Energy in there and help promote the show as well. Also, Phenom Elite football season is in full swing. If you've got a kid or a family member who's playing some football, maybe TJ, maybe he's got a kid who's playing some football, some flag, lighting up the field, hitting home runs too in baseball, TJ.
Yeah, man. Another
or triple.
Yeah, he hit a triple on last night, as a matter of fact.
Nice.
Was it last night or Monday night? I can't remember. Days are running together. Triple on Monday night, and then Saturday he threw a touchdown, ran a touchdown on. So we won 28-0 flag football. So he's pretty good, man. He's all right. He's doing okay.
You know, DJ Smith's going to be calling you up to join the App State staff in no time, man.
He says he wants to go to App State or Penn State. His mom's a Penn State fan, so we'll see.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with Penn State.
I say if you can go to Penn State, probably go to Penn State.
If you can go to Penn State, you probably get paid a little bit more money these days too.
Yeah,
so
exactly. If you can go to Penn State, go to Penn State.
I grew up a Penn State fan, so I'm fine with that decision for him.
Absolutely.
I'll go see some games. I've been to Happy Valley a few times. We were there for the almost upset a couple years ago when App State went to overtime. So, yeah, good times in Happy Valley. That's probably why they call it that. But we'll see. I do agree with anybody who says they're overranked so far this year just because they haven't played anybody yet. But, you know.
Yeah, well, and they're basing a lot of it, too, off last year. And a lot of their rosters coming back. Obviously, T.J. Warren's not back. T.J. Warren, he lit it up on Sunday, by the way. I know we're talking about college ball, but T.J. Warren lit it up for the Colts on Sunday. And Daniel Jones, of all people. I mean, again, this is Sun Belt, but Daniel Jones looks pretty good. He's going to have to get his flowers pretty soon.
Yeah, that's weird. No one thought that was going to happen. We also saw Bo Prabula. That's like the hardest name to say, but the former Penn State quarterback played for Missouri against Louisiana, and we unfortunately saw what transpired there on the field this past week. But yeah, Penn State has a pedigree for some talented athletes on their roster.
Running backs and tight ends for sure.
Yes, absolutely, and kind of like linebacker, you there for a little bit.
Linebacker DN.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they've been good. Well, shout out Ben James saying his 20th birthdays this Sunday. Happy early birthday. Yeah, we'll be wrapping up the week on Sunday, Ben. So hopefully we won't see you because you're out enjoying your birthday.
Absolutely.
But TJ, someone's jumping in already saying,
"Oh my God,
hello."
TJ's not here. You've got his voicemail. Please leave a message at the sound of the beep.
Oh, nice. I like that. Oh yeah, Destiny's been waiting her turn to come after you, man.
I'm sure. Yeah. Well, Destiny, we gave you the ball 3 times inside of the 20-yard, inside of the 10-yard line. We gave you the ball 3 times. So, yeah, you should have won. Yeah. And we deserve to lose.
Yeah, you can't do that and win games very often.
No, not at all.
I don't remember the last time it happened. I'm sure it has happened. I'm sure there's some crazy stat out there, but
Jake Browning for the Bengals. When Joe Burrow got hurt, he threw 3 interceptions on Sunday, and they ended up winning. Don't know how that happened, but it happened.
That's true. That's a good point. How's the weather? Yes.
Oh, it is raining, Destiny. It is raining a lot. Raining interceptions. That's what it's raining.
Yeah. G. Wills wants to know if you ran up to the pay window with the ODU slip, TJ.
Oh, God.
Did you end up putting anything on that one?
Say what?
Did you end up putting anything on that ODU?
No, I didn't. I was going to, and then I didn't. I should have, but I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't place any this past weekend, so I was out on that. I would have, and then someone was telling me on the College Football Backers late night Saturday, wrapping up college football. We've started doing that and broadcasting it on the Sunbelt Syndicate pages as well. But yeah, they said Vegas should always ask us, TJ, about our thoughts going into the week, and we would have let them know that VT should have never been the favorite heading into that game.
Yeah, no,
not that they were incapable of winning.
But I did call it.
Yep.
I said ODU, Virginia Tech's just not a good football team. They're just not.
Right.
So, I mean, and we put, and I say Sunbelt, we hung 45 points on an ACC school. Yep. What does that say?
Well, and last year we hung 70 on somebody too.
They might have been a little bit west of me.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we've been making the ACC look a little bad. So I've been saying that for years. The ACC football is just not great. You have like one or two top teams that are pretty good, and everybody else is just decent.
Yeah, I mean, it's Clemson and Florida State this year, and then it's nobody.
Well, I would say it's Miami.
Oh, Miami, Clemson and Miami. I'm sorry, Clemson, Miami, and Florida State.
Yeah, and Clemson's struggled out the gate. So anyway, Enough of the ACC talk, right? Let's get into why we are here, which is the Week 4 preview for Sunbelt football action. And to go over the playbook for tonight real quick, as always now, we're going to kind of go over the lay of the land before we get going. Looking good. Come on, bro. That's where we're going to have, hey, why'd you lose? Why'd you lose so bad, right? The week player of the weeks for the awards. We've also been releasing that on sunbeltsyndicate.com. Don't forget to go there, check it out. We're releasing a ton of preview articles for this weekend's games starting tonight, late tonight, probably after this show's over. We're going to get to the editing and adding the graphics for those articles as well as throughout the day tomorrow for sure. You better win. So we've got some teams that need to win this week for different reasons. Games of the week. We'll round it out with everybody that kind of falls in between that. And, of course, we'll get to TJ's clip breakdown, and we're actually going to do that part right now. So I sent these to TJ earlier today, and we're going to see.
You're about to see a heck of a catch in this first clip.
Pull this one up. We are going to start. Yeah, go ahead.
No, yeah, I was going to say this catch is about to be insane.
Share this tab instead here. Yes. I don't know why it's not popping up here. Oh,
I got it.
Yeah, I have to do that. That kind of helps right there. All right. So like always, we're going to run through this thing full speed. Yeah. And then we'll slow it down as TJ kind of talks us through what he sees here. And this is going to be Colton Joseph throwing to Jakari Thomas in the ODU Virginia Tech game over the weekend. So here we go.
Roll that beautiful beam footage. So right now you've got your quarterback looking and seeing what he's got up top, which is always good to see. So you're going to run a post with the inside slot receiver. It's just a one-on-one route, right? It's man coverage across the board. It looks like maybe with a free safety. Actually, safety comes down, so you got man coverage, and he just beats him across the face. But what an absolute beauty of a catch with his left hand. I don't know if he's left-handed or not, but if he's not, that makes the catch even more spectacular. But regardless, I mean, what a way to stamp your name in the game, right? I mean, the scouts there, the people are watching. But what an absolute, beauty of a catch. But it starts here with the protection, right? Play action fake, draws the linebackers down, first step. So you see the linebacker now, he's getting out late, right? He's late to the party in terms of dropping out in the coverage, so he can't get underneath that post route. It would have been tough for him to get underneath it anyway, but because of the hard play action fake, you got this linebacker right here that's in the middle of the field. He's going to take a hard step up and read run. Once he reads run, quarterback already knows that he's got one-on-one with that slot corner or safety. I don't know if it's a slot corner or safety. I don't know. It looks like they're running a nickel package, so it might be a slot corner. Slot corner. So he sees it already that he's already got that guy one-on-one wide open. And it's not the best throw ever, but certainly a heck of a catch and run after the catch and great blocking by his wide receivers on the other side of the field. It's just a beauty of a teamwork play, but it all started with the protection and with the play action in the backfield. You've got 5 hats and, on 4 already, you're already outnumbered them. That's first thing. Second thing is, like I said, you've been biting hard on play action and blitz pickup too by the running back. I mean, it's just everything worked perfectly on that play. And yeah, it was a great play call, great execution, and absolute dime of a catch.
Yeah, and talk about the TJ Courman special. When did you teach him this maneuver that he pulled off twice here?
the old stop and go, huh?
Yep.
It's such a lethal. It's so simple, right? It's the most simple move you'll ever run in your life. But you got a guy that's running full speed, and he's thinking that you're running full speed, and that little quick stop just gives him enough momentum to go past him, and you can dip under him, and you just make people look silly with that quick little stop and go, man. It was one of my favorite moves outside of the spin move.
Yeah. And like I said, I've seen you do it many times. And as soon as I saw that clip, I said, "Oh, we're showing this one." I mean, for multiple reasons, right? It was a big play early in the game. The one-handed catch, as you said, was phenomenal. But the stop and go 2 times on the same play was like, this is a TJ clip right here. G. Will's saying clean sheet by the O-line. Big boys up front had given up 2 thus far. It's allowing us to see what Colton can really do. Absolutely.
Yeah,
100%, saw some film 100%. Breakdown. Yeah, I saw some film breakdown that shows kind of the sets that they run and how creative they've been on offense so far this year. And it's definitely doing them a lot of favors. And we're seeing the outcomes of a lot of that, especially in this Virginia Tech game. Okay, the second play comes from the Arkansas State versus Iowa State game. This is Rayner to running back Devin Spencer. Now, this is a 3rd down play, and I'll let TJ take it from here. Again, full speed first time. We'll slow it down after this.
Let's see. I mean, and so the good part about this play is execution as well, right? I mean, and you're going to hear me say execution a lot because that's it takes that, right? There's play calling, then there's execution part, and everybody's got to do their job. But this is, again, doing your job. Look at 55, okay? When we bring this play back, obviously it's a simple play. Everybody in the world runs it. Every college team, every NFL team, everybody runs it. It's a slot banana slip or whatever you want to call it. It's just a quick screen pass. But I want you to watch 55. He is hauling butt, right, to make this block. And he's going to end up being the one that leads him. Now you got your tight end. He makes an outstanding block, right? Boom. Now you got your Valley. And you've got 55 that's blocking him. That's 8 yards down the field, okay? Listen, us skill guys, we get a lot of credit and a lot of props for the things that we do, and that's great, and I love it. I love being a slot receiver. But you get nothing out of that play if 55 doesn't make that block, right? And that slip play or screen pass, whatever it is that you want to call it, we used to call it a slip banana. But he was able, running back's able to fold right in between that gap. And 55 is, I watched this play like 10 times today. I was so impressed, not just by 55, but Zero as well. The receiver, he's blocking him 10 yards down the field as well. The effort that you're getting on plays like this is what wins football games. Now, obviously, they didn't beat Iowa State. Iowa State's ranked, but they gave them a good game. And the reason they gave them a good game is because they maxed out on effort. Effort cannot be taught. Effort is something that you give every single day, and that's what separates the men from the boys. That's what separates champions from contenders, because these guys, 55 and 0, are making blocks all the way down the field, almost busted for a first down. But that's the kind of effort that you need, and that's what it takes to win the Sun Belt, and that's what it takes to ultimately win championships. That's great job. Great job by everybody.
Absolutely.
But 55 and 0, they get a helmet sticker.
There you go. I do love that. Those are the things that, I wasn't watching specifically those 2 guys, and you're right, man. They really followed through with their blocks and made that play what it was. Also, just break down, I know you're not necessarily kicking field goals in flag football when you're coaching, TJ, but from your playing days, this is a 3rd and kind of long, right? This was 3rd and 14 specifically before this play started. You're only down 9-0. It's the very beginning of the second quarter. talk about the coaching aspect, and I'll just take this play away while we talk about this part. Talk about the coaching aspect of like trying to at least maintain the fact that you're going to get some points on the board. If the play breaks open, great, but at least you're going to get a field goal opportunity out of this.
Absolutely. It's everything. You got a third down and long, right? It's third, I think it was 3rd and 14. You don't have a 14-yard play call in your playbook, right? Most coaches don't. You've got a go route and things like that, but you're not going to throw a go route against, a Big 12 football team that's hot right now, that's ranked, right? So what are you going to do? You're going to try to catch them off balance. You're going to try to get them in situations like this. It could have been a draw play. It gives you an extra – whatever it is that you do that gives you an extra 5, 6, 8 yards when you're already inside your own 40 and all you're looking to do at this time is get points. Points are huge, and it's a momentum shift. It's a momentum builder, and those are the kinds of things, again, that'll win you football games because you're playing the field position game at this point, right? Not everything is going to be a touchdown pass. Not everything is going to be, you putting it up for 6 every single time. You've got to take what the defense is giving you. You've got to run with the flow of the game, so to speak, and that was a perfect play call for that situation. 3rd down and 14, again, you're not going to run a go route, right? So run what's going to be safe, run what's going to get you, again, and it could have gotten them a first down because the blocking was excellent. Right. And those are one of those things. Sometimes you bust it, sometimes you don't, but at least you get positive yards and you put yourself in a position to be positive and to kick that and make that field goal kick a little bit easier on your kicker. So it all works together. Those are the kinds of things, again, that wins you football games. It's quality coaching, but even more than that, it's quality execution.
Yeah. Absolutely. I loved that one when I watched it back. I was like, this one sticks out because I see what he was doing there, which is just what you described. So perfect. Ben is saying Iowa State is overranked. Well, coming into the weekend, I thought maybe they were underranked, but after this performance, either Arkansas State's better than I had thought going in, or Iowa State may not be as good as I thought they were. But either way, good game. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's give Arkansas State some love, right? I mean, you've got blockers like that, and you've got effort that's being given that way. You're only going to get better, right? Maybe this wasn't your day, but you're going to have your day soon if you keep giving that kind of effort.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Like I said, it was one of the aspects of that play that you pick out and show. Even after I picked that play out, I wasn't focusing on those two guys and the blocks and the effort that they put in. But as you described it, you can see it plain as day. Very good. And one of my favorite clips that you've broken down actually so far. And it is, like I said to you when I sent it to you, it wasn't one of those sexy plays. And there's another one here in the South Alabama-Auburn game where Davenport hands off to running back P.J. Martin. But he's sprung by the block of tight end Miller McCrumbie, who actually transferred in from Arkansas State, by the way. So let's take a look at this one again, full screen.
We're giving a lot of love to the big guys tonight, huh? Tight ends, linemen.
Yeah.
This is a good thing. I like it, man. Those guys need love too.
That they do.
And no doubt there's going to be some love given on this play. Now, when you bring this back, I want everybody watch the motion guy that comes across the line of scrimmage, right? That's going to be your kick out block. That's going to be the block that springs him, so to speak, for this first down, because they're going to leave the end man alone, right? So the tight end's crashing down, the end man is alone. So more even though it's a good block by the tight end on that front side, you call it front side of the play. That's where the ball went. It's front side. He washes them down. They leave the end man alone on the line of scrimmage. So what ends up happening is that H-back or running back or tight end or whatever you want to call him, he comes across and that defensive end thinks he's got a free rush now, a free release, and he gets his clock cleaned because this guy's coming right at his chin strap. And that's the difference between – that's the difference between a first down and a tackle for a loss. It's making that play. And those are the kind of plays, again, that win you football games. Games aren't won by explosive plays all the time, right? The football games that you're going to see, there's a lot of games that, if you're not a football head like myself and you, Dom, you're going to look at the plays for the glitz and the glamour and the long throws and the sacks and those kinds of – and that's awesome. That's great. Those are all things that help you win. But the key ingredients to winning football games are blocks like that and runs like that, these 3-yard, 4-yard gains at a time. Because if you continue to do those kinds of things, they wear a defense out. And now, obviously, this is Auburn, so it's a different animal. I get it. But you're talking about in-conference play, running these kinds of plays and running them consistently, that's the difference between winning and losing. Those few extra yards, that one block that gets you that first down, that's the difference. So excellent job.
And we're going to see – I'm going to run through this one more time, maybe not even fully, but notice the down and distance. 4th and 1. So obviously they have to have the yard or more than 1 yard, but they have to pick it up. And look at where they're at on the field. Look at the guts this takes by Applewhite here to call this. They're on their own. They're inside their own 35-yard line. If they turn this ball over on 4th down, it's game over quick. It's already 21-3. They have to have this. And like you said, that block was immensely needed. And I looked back through the stat sheet. That was McCrumbie's biggest play by far because he didn't end up with a reception. But it's like you said, it's just as important as the sexy big plays, right? Because this game's even worse if you don't pick that up right there because they score probably a field goal by default and maybe a touchdown by being that close that early in the game.
Well, and it's not even so much this game, right? That play really doesn't matter for this game. They're down 21-3. They know they're probably not going to win this game. That's the stuff that you put on film for when you go back to the drawing board next week, and that stands out to coaches, and coaches point that out in meeting rooms, and they say, look at the effort by this guy. If we got 11 hats doing the same thing that 2 is doing, we can in our conference, we won't be touched. We won't be touched.
Right.
And that's you set yourself up when you give that kind of effort against teams that you know you're not going to win against. Imagine what that does for your psyche when you play against teams that you do have a shot against. If I can do that against Auburn, imagine what I'm going to do to, Southern Miss's defensive end or corner or edge player. You see what I mean? That's the kind you set yourself up for success long term. That's the difference in those plays. And giving that kind of effort means that you can do it again.
Love it. I love it, man. This is why it's why we get you to do this. Bringing us stuff to light that we don't necessarily see or think about as kind of average fans, or at least some of us are average. If you're listening to this show, you're probably above average. We'll go ahead.
A little bit above average if you listen to this.
Yeah, and but by the way, we had a random download that was huge today. I was checking along the lines of our stuff. Someone downloaded, or maybe a number of people, over 200 downloads of our podcast today. So whether by mistake or purposeful, we thank you because we've been trying to get to certain numbers, and that helped us hit it this month. So, hey, again, if you're just finding it out and checking it out, we appreciate it. And if you're a big-time fan and just downloaded our whole catalog for whatever reason, thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll get into looking good. This is going to cover the teams from last week that looked pretty good on the field. I only had 2 of them, TJ, so this will be rather quick. We kind of talked about the one. We saw the play specifically, but the 45-26 win by ODU over Virginia Tech, as you spoke about, not necessarily a great Virginia Tech team, certainly not a ranked Virginia Tech team, but this is still one that Virginia Tech fans, obviously, think they're going to win. This is one that Virginia Tech fans expect to win over an in-state, under them kind of thought process goes. TJ might be familiar with that from playing big schools back in your time. And then we kind of had the opposite of that with Marshall. 38-7 win over Eastern Kentucky really helped them look by far the best they've looked all season, obviously, and finally getting on the score sheet. I think we had them listed as a you better win this game this past week. So they came through. I would assume that ODU is going to be the more impressive of the 2 here, but I'll just ask you anyway. What
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no doubt. ODU. I mean, and again, I say more impressive. I mean, you put Virginia Tech and EKU in a stadium together. I mean, you're probably going to get a good game because they both are trash. So, I mean, you talk about who's the better win. Obviously, ODU, they scored 45 points against an ACC team. But you give credit where it's due. A win is a win. It doesn't matter how you get it. It doesn't matter where you get it as long as you get the dub. So, but yes, more impressive wins, certainly ODU. Again, I had them picked before the game even started, and I don't know why the line was in Virginia Tech's favor to begin. I should have put money on it. I wanted to so badly, but then I was like, you know what? I could be wrong, and I don't want to be wrong. I'm going with my gut next time.
Yeah. It was just one thing I just didn't get to at all this weekend for
Yeah.
anything. So that was why I didn't, because I agree with you. I mean, maybe ODU doesn't get favored by more than 3 points, but I still would have taken that in a heartbeat. So
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
It did seem like Marshall maybe found their quarterback in Carlos Del Rio Wilson from Syracuse and formerly from Florida. So, that is probably the best thing to come out of that game because everyone expected a win there. On the opposite side of that, we've got TJ's phrase here. So why don't you enter us into this
Yeah, man. Come
next
on,
topic
bro.
with
Listen,
that?
there are some teams that are just like, oh, come on, man. Follow up to Clemson, not good for Temple, or excuse me, God, Temple, Troy at all.
Yeah.
For me, I was expecting a little bit more. I don't know about you, Dominic, but I was expecting a little bit more, especially after the effort that they gave last week. I was expecting so much more, but I was left hanging.
Yeah, I was too. We saw Memphis come in undefeated. They were 2-0, but obviously it's not something to crow about this early in the season. But we saw
Sure.
how Troy competed against Clemson the whole first half.
Right.
That second half, not as good. But again, that's a Clemson team that's kind of waking up, getting their feet underneath them. So you had a feeling at some point it was going to happen. It was just, could Troy withstand it? And they looked like the better team in the first half. They did not look like the better team at any point in this game against Memphis. They had lost their quarterback early, so that's not going to help them. But they did not keep Brandon Lewis contained. And we talked about that beforehand. He could beat you with his arm as well as his legs. He kind of
100%.
threw and ran all over him. And Troy really had no answer. I thought maybe that was where they'd be standing out was the defense. And early on, it looked good because they had a scoop and score touchdown. I believed it tied it at 7. It at least kept it within one score if it was already 14-0. I can't remember off the top of my head, but
yeah, well, it was 14-0, and then Troy got a scoop and scored 7,
gotcha.
and scored, and then never scored again. Never offense just didn't exist the rest of the game.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. They just
10 for 29 from your quarterback. That's deplorable. Okay, yeah. You're talking in the 40s percentage wise. No, that's like 38%.
Yeah, that's a little rough, especially from a guy who had a good bit of playing experience last year. This isn't a true freshman coming in to do that. You want to see a little bit more, and you really need it, especially when your number one guy goes down. This wasn't like he was coming off the bench to get a series or two because the guy was banged up a little bit and he was coming back. They kind of knew pretty early on that he wasn't going to be back in this game. And I still haven't seen anything definitive on his health going into this upcoming weekend.
Yeah, no, I'm looking for it now, and I don't see it either.
Okay, so no true update that we've seen or heard just yet, but hopefully that gets better. The Cajuns go up to number 25, Missouri. This is a game before the season that I had circled as like, hey, this one could be sneaky good because I think the Cajuns have a chance to beat them. Obviously, now we know going in, they didn't have their number one quarterback. They ended up getting hammered here. Ahmad Hardy, transfer from ULM last year. It seems like he's holding something against the Cajuns still, right, TJ?
Yeah, well, you've got Beetle who's going 1 for 8 and 1 for 5 yards in the game. I mean, it wasn't a good game all the way around for the Cajuns. I mean, I'm looking at the stat sheet here. I mean, your best, it's just 86 yards rushing total. That's going to get you beat all the time. That's always going to get you beat.
The two quarterbacks combined for, I think, 2 completions between the two of them or something crazy. It just seemed like they couldn't – the O-line couldn't sustain a block long enough to get them to be able to pass, or they were just tucking and running for their lives. I can't really I haven't made it all the way through the game just yet. I was watching that actually before we went live here now. But Ahmad Hardy, career day, 250 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's not going to be easy to overcome. Another thing that's not going to be easy to overcome, 3 interceptions in the red zone for App State versus Southern Miss. If you look statistically, not the worst game as far as getting the yards you need from, your quarterback, your running back. But TJ, it's hard to win when you throw 3 interceptions and you have a even better detail on where those occurred, right?
Yeah, 3 interceptions, not just in the red zone, not just inside the 10-yard line. These are 3 interceptions that were in from the 7-yard line or better. You're walking in the end zone, and we're throwing interceptions that are inside of the 7-yard line, all 3. That's insane. That's a ridiculous way to lose football games. I don't recall ever the black and gold that happening. I don't recall ever. I don't recall. First of all, I don't recall back-to-back 3 interception football games. That's the first thing. Secondly, it's certainly not in the red zone and certainly not inside the 10-yard line. It's insane. It's inexcusable. All of the things that you would use to describe how deplorable that effort was. I don't know what we're looking at. I don't know if the quarterbacks and the receivers aren't on the same page. I can't tell if it's play calling. I can't tell if it's decision making. I can't tell what it is, but what I can tell you that there's a lot of us former athletes and there's a lot of us in the black and gold fan base that are getting pretty restless and pretty pissed off watching things like this because we're giving football games away. We almost gave one away to Lindenwood. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
We almost gave one away to Lindenwood. And now we did give one away to albeit a really good opponent. And I shortchanged them going into it. But the reality of it is you throw 3 interceptions inside the red zone, the game shouldn't have been close. Even if, let's say hypothetically, we score 2 touchdowns and kick 1 field goal, right? That limits their possessions they get back, firstly. And then secondarily, it's almost a runaway at that point. So while Destiny is right, I owe her an apology. Right, I do owe you an apology, Destiny, but we gave you that football game. We gave it to you. You didn't. You got to do something with it, right? You got to do something with the ball when you get it. So I do give you respect and props for that. But it also helps a lot when you're given a gift, and we gave you a gift, and we took points off our board and gave them to you. It's insane. It's
yeah. The one that hurt the most was the one where the throw was pretty good. It wasn't bad. I think it was Dominick's interception. It really wasn't on Swan because, again, the throw wasn't really the issue. He was kind of fumbling it a little bit as he went to the ground. It looked like the ball may have hit because the way it bounces up just doesn't seem like it was on his arm to like bounce off. You know, who knows? Who cares at this point? You didn't win the game. It doesn't really matter. But that also ends up being a 99-yard interception return by Ian Foster. Just ridiculous. I mean, when Dominick caught the ball, there wasn't great coverage on him. He should have waltzed into the end zone, no problem. But again, with struggling with that football at that point, unfortunately, that goes on Swan more than it goes on Dominick because I don't think. Well, yeah, it was an interception. It was not considered a fumble, so they never considered him to have the ball fully. But definitely more on that. The game.
Well, listen, Destiny, as a former athlete, like there's times, and I don't know if you were, it looks like you might have been an athlete. There are times where you gave a game away or the other team just beat you, right? Like there was, like, for example, we played against Georgia Southern my sophomore year. My senior year, they came to Boone. They beat us in Boone. We never gave them that game. We never had a chance that whole game. We didn't play them well. We didn't play them well at all. And not only did we not play them well, they came better prepared than we did. They took the game from us. Now, conversely, right after we go beat Michigan in 2007, we go right down to Spartanburg and we give the game away against Wofford. You know, so there's times when you gave a game away, and there's times when you know that another team's just better and they beat you. This was one of those things where we gave it to you. Unfortunately, respect because you did win it, you did take it, and you did do something with it. But we gave you that game.
Yeah, I 2 things. Artie's comment, great, right here. Destiny versus TJ. We've been waiting all week. I text TJ the exact same thing earlier. I was like, "She's coming for you. You better be ready."
I knew it. I should have been on Twitter.
Yeah. Also, this is great. She says, "I'm not an athlete. I'm just a receipt keeper and a menace." And we love you for it.
I love it.
This is what makes it fun. Yeah, this is what makes it fun. TJ says App State was out here giving out gifts and donations.
See what I mean?
Yeah, no excuses, no mercy on TJ.
Listen, I expect Destiny to hold it on me the rest of the year, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Sam's got a good point here. Southern Miss needed that performance, a lot of preseason hype, and then it makes sense though. I mean, you've got a team that is comprised of some players and the head coach from last year's championship team, so there's a reason for the hype. So I think it's a understandable cause. I just didn't think they'd kind of catch on until later in the season. Although, and Destiny remembers this part too with the receipt keeping. I did call Southern Miss to win this game over App. I didn't know if App was going to be in rhythm yet. I was questioning that after week 1. After week 2, I was like, okay, maybe I did make the right call with saying they're not quite there yet, and that seemed to be the case. They don't have any problem moving the ball. They just have a problem putting it in the end zone so far this year, which seems like that to be the easier part.
Just sounds insane. I know the field shrinks when you get down there, but your play shouldn't shrink.
Yeah. Oh, man. And Ben's saying it's not even Christmas yet. Yeah. Destiny wants to know if you've considered adjusting your prediction at all, TJ.
We'll see. We will see. Well, I got to get a couple more games under my belt to see who this App State team is, and really to see who Southern Miss is as well, because I don't know if that was an aberration. I don't know who Southern Miss really is yet. We quite honestly, and I said this last week, none of these teams know who they are yet. And none of these teams are going to know who they are until we get into week 4 and 5. And which sucks. I wish college had preseason so we can get some of the rust off, knock some of the kinks out. Unfortunately, we don't have that. We got scrimmages against yourself, and by the time you get done with camp, you're tired. You don't really want to see your one defense again, right? So that's the disadvantage of it, and that's why sometimes we don't get a quality product the first couple of weeks of the season. Not to belabor the point, but we'll see. A couple more weeks, teams will find out who they really are.
Yeah, absolutely. She says she's going to be lurking, so don't you worry.
I hope you are.
One prediction that you won't have to adjust, or at least from my side of things, is Coastal Carolina. That there were some people upset with my early season or preseason prediction for them. That might actually be overachieving for what they're actually doing right now. Where is the offense again? Because if you watched the show last week, you already know we asked where the offense was last week going into week 3. Now we're going to have to ask going into week 4, where is it? What's happening? They got shut out by ECU and lost that game 38-0. So, and that one was at home. That's not a road game, folks. That one was in Conway. So not good. I know the fan base down there is getting a little antsy with wanting to see something more from this Coastal Carolina team. But as of yet, offensively, they have not done that. Artie wants to know, did you ever scrimmage against other teams, TJ? It's a good question. I don't think so.
It wasn't legal. It wasn't legal. It wasn't legal then. It's not legal now. You can't do it. And that's crazy. Because the NCAA can't make money off of it. So,
But they are talking. Remember, Dion was trying to get somebody to come in over the spring and play Colorado, and the other team was like that he said was willing to do it. But again, like you said, NCAA wouldn't allow it. However, apparently they did start looking into it, and if they can make money off of it, they may allow those types of spring games to be actual games or, glorified games, because they're probably still mostly going to be kind of scrimmagey. But sure. I'll take a spring game against an opponent. I don't care who it is.
Yeah, are you kidding me? I would absolutely watch. I mean, even if your normal scrimmage game, your normal spring game is ones get about 15 plays or 2 drives, I'd pay money to see Alabama or LSU versus, I don't know, some team in the Big 12, Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
Ones against ones for 15 plays. I'd pay to see that.
I'd also to some extent, if there's a team, and I'm just going to pick this one out because it's kind of been in the news a little bit here lately, with the VT job opening up.
Sure.
We know Mike Vick used to play there. He is now a head coach at Norfolk State. A big team inviting Norfolk State in that would not maybe typically play them during the regular season, but give them the shot to come in there. You get what you need out of it, as the bigger program should run all over them, whatever. And they get to experience your game day, your stadium, the big crowd of something like that. I'd also be okay with something like that.
They get eyes on the program too, right? They go out there and they put up a good performance. People are going to want to see what Norfolk State is going to do the rest of the year, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And TJ Driggers, the commenter, is saying preseason games would be awesome. I mean, we've seen that the NFL have them, obviously. They've gone to less of them. I don't think we need to see more than one in college, right, TJ? I mean, we don't want these kids to be playing even more games than they're really already playing now. We just want them to have a little bit of a warm-up before they start really playing games.
I mean, even one, I would even go so far as to say two. 2 games is fine, right? I mean, they're playing a 12-game season. You count if you get to the playoffs, or let's say 13 games if you get to a bowl game. If you get into the playoffs, that's another 4 games. So 16 games. I mean, you're conditioning these guys to play 16 games or 17 games now on Sundays anyway. What's the problem? Give them one or two games in August, early August or late July, and let's see what we got.
Well, and the other argument can now be, hey, we are essentially paying you either directly as a school or you're getting paid possibly through NIL things. We want more out of you.
Yeah.
It's going to be a conversation that comes up, right? You don't have a collective bargaining agreement until these players come together and do something like that. They're going to be still told what to do in that regard, right? Hey, go make us more money because we're paying you out now. So, hey, this is going to be our call, and you're just going to have to do it. Zach is asking if football is the only sport where they aren't allowed, and he thinks it's the only one that he can think of major sport-wise, and I think I'd agree. I mean, baseball has fall ball that's about to start up for a lot of college programs. We know basketball has those like secret games where they don't televise it. They don't have anybody, they're reporting on it for the most part, but they happen all the time behind closed doors before the season gets going. So, yeah, I think football probably is the only major sport that doesn't have that thing happening.
It would just be really, really hard to have a secret football game. You know what I mean? Like you can't – it's not one of those things where you can just close in a stadium. Now, maybe you can go in somebody's practice facility and do that, but then that's not safe because there isn't a whole lot of sideline. So I don't think you can – I mean, there's no place to do it without anybody knowing.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Basketball, you can kind of just show up secretly to a gym and play.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, Artie said that he knew of some stuff between Texas State and Texas that used to happen, but maybe it was technically considered a practice or something. I know even in the high school ranks, you can't do it that I know of unless it's because there's like so many requirements that you have to be under this many games or hours or something like that. So yeah, there's all kinds of technicalities and they'll do whatever they can to make sure they, like you said, TJ, the most important thing is they're making their money to, move forward with this. So that is usually the biggest aspect of why those things have not occurred. Okay. This week's weekly awards, if you've been on social media, you follow us on pretty much any channel. These were released earlier. I think they came out Tuesday morning. But our offensive player of the week was Colton Joseph from ODU. He kind of just lit it up. And we got the details on sunbeltsyndicate.com in our week 3 awards article. Defensive player of the week, that's where we differed from the Sun Belt Conference themselves, but they did still have somebody, Ian Foster, who did have that massive return against App State. We went a little bit different, though. We went with Jamon Tapp, who was a former Arizona State transfer who came into Southern Miss. He's listed as a defensive tackle, defensive end, depending on where you see him listed, but he disrupted the App State offenses in the backfield all day, getting 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, helping to cause some of those interceptions because of that pressure. So we decided to lean his way for our defensive player of the week. Special teams player of the week, Clune Van Andel. We talked about the play that set up his first field goal of the day. He ended up going 3 for 3 and perfect from extra points. So This is a guy who's a Lou Groza award watch list member from before the season even started, and so far absolutely looking the part, especially this past week against a ranked Iowa State team. And then we had our freshman player of the week. Jakari Brown came in and was really disruptive to help the defensive side against Jacksonville State. And he was a redshirt freshman last year with 0 game experience. He also didn't play in the first 2 games of this season and then came out and made, I think, 6 total tackles, 6 of them solo, pass breakups. I mean, he was just all over the field in his very first collegiate game. So definitely shout out to Jakari Brown there on that one. I wish I tagged pretty much all these players. Jakari doesn't seem to have much of a social media presence, so he might not even know about a lot of this stuff. So if you are a Georgia Southern fan and know how to get that over to him, make sure he's aware that he was our freshman player of the week. Go ahead and please do that. So those are our players of the week. And now that we have officially started conference games, we've only had one. So this one isn't really an exciting graphic at this point. App State at the bottom of the East, technically. They're the only ones that have played over there. They're 0-1 after that loss to Southern Miss. Southern Miss, obviously, at that point on top of the West. And then for right now, we just kind of left your overall records as your tiebreaker of sorts. But we're about to get a lot more of these games very soon. But we just wanted to let you know we will be taking a quick weekly look at that before we get into what will be our games of the week. Kind of a small slate this week compared to last week. I think we had 4 games last week, or was it just 3, TJ? You remember off the top of your head?
I believe it was 4. It was 4 last week. We had Iowa State and Arkansas. We had App State and Southern Miss, ODU and Virginia Tech, and then what was the 4th one?
Texas State and Arizona State.
At Texas State, Arizona State. Yeah, so we had 4 last week.
Nice. I'm glad you remember.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd have gotten all 4 of them. But yes, that's good call. Good call. And before we get into that, Artie says if you're not knowing, or you'd be hard to hide a football game. He says that's not true. UMass, nobody would know.
That's fair. That's fair. Although UMass used to be pretty good. We played against them in the national championship in 2005. Was it 05 or
Yep, that was the first one.
Yep, 05.
Yep, that was you. And you were on. That was your freshman year.
Yep, freshman year.
Nice.
And speaking of freshman
nice,
year,
right? Freshman year, Natty, in your freshman year.
Yeah. Speaking of freshman years, we talked about freshman of the week. I actually got freshman of the week one week right after the Kansas game. We played against Western Carolina at home. I think it was 87 total yards of scrimmage and a touchdown. Freshman of the week.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah,
and
you'd probably be on our board for that too.
wasn't a fun belt back then, but we played a little ball.
Yeah, definitely did. So for this week's games of the week, again, small slate, but these ones are pretty big to make up for it. We've got first off Saturday, 3:30 Eastern, ESPNU, 2:30 Central Time. James Madison traveling to the Liberty Flames. This is an in-state matchup. Lots of stuff in between these two teams. They've played a good number of times, but not all of them have been at the FBS level. The all-time series favors James Madison 12 games to 6. Liberty won the last game, but it was all the way back in 2014, so not a lot of recent history in this one, and that might be why you're hearing more of the build-up and all the stuff that may be going on with this one. We know coming into this one, Sluka likes to run the ball. Barnett likes to throw the ball. Are they going to decide to feature one of them more prominently after what we saw against Louisville, right? TJ, that was kind of the maybe surprising part for me. I don't know about you personally. I thought we'd kind of start to see more of one guy be featured more strongly in that game. And my guess is that, Barnett's just not fully healthy still.
Yeah, it could be a matter of health. It's weird because, like, you're right, we did expect that, and then we don't get it, and then it's just kind of one of those things where it's like it leaves you speculating. And obviously you never want to guess. You never want to guess anybody's health or status or anything like that. It could be a myriad of things going on. But certainly something I was looking forward to and did not get.
Yeah, no, we definitely didn't get. One thing that we are going to get, and not a ton of experience, but James Madison has gone against the former Coastal Carolina coach and Jamie Chadwell, who leads the Liberty Flames. And they've now also gone up against their quarterback this season, Ethan Vasco, who transfers in from Coastal Carolina as well. Vasco's got 6 touchdowns to 3 interceptions on the year. He's still kind of stronger with his legs, as we've seen. So it'll be interesting to see because they've struggled. They're only 1-2 out the gate. James Madison hasn't played 3 games. They're just 1-1 on the season overall. This will be their 3rd game. One thing that I'll mention that I want to see happen more is Petaway getting more involved. The former North Carolina running back who transferred in had a pretty strong season last year, a pretty good game against UNC specifically. And it looks like, last game against Louisville, this isn't going to be a team he's scared to go up against and tote the rock plenty of times. And it doesn't seem like he got it enough because you ran Sluka so many times. Wayne Knight, he's like a utility knife. He should be able to be used as a running back, wide receiver. Heck, he could probably throw the ball. So I'd like to see those two guys featured a little bit more prominently in this game and hopefully see JMU run all over Liberty because as people of this show know, fans of this show, not at all a Liberty Flames fan.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. I was here to say I was waiting for the build up to the I hate Liberty part.
Yep, it's always going to be there, folks. I'll never go away from it. But it will be a destination game this week because, as you can see, it's on ESPNU. It's on a big platform. It's gonna garner some attention, even though Liberty is not what they have been over the past several seasons. I wouldn't say they still have the name, the brand recognition. So it'll be nice for a Sunbelt team to walk in there and hopefully walk out victorious and make us all look a little bit better. And Artie's throwing out a beat Liberty, so I like that. TJ, any other notes that you want to touch on this big?
No, I think you hit them all. I think, like you said, I want to see more of a ground attack from JMU. It should set itself up for that. I know Liberty's obviously not going to be scared at any point of JMU, but JMU's got a pretty good rushing attack, and I'd like to see them exploit that a little bit more and use the weapons that they have, get on the outside and run some in between the tackle as well with some misdirection and really get them off balance and use the play call and the athletes that they have because they do. And another thing that JMU has, sorry not to belabor the point, but JMU has a really athletic offensive line, right? And I don't know how many people understand what that means, but there's a lot of stunts and pulls and things that they can do with that offensive line, especially right tackle. His name is blanking for me right now. The right tackle is really athletic, and I believe so. And is able to he's able to get out on blocks well. He's excellent in the screen game, absolute phenomenal in the screen game. And so I'd like to see them do a little bit more running out on the edge and getting those offensive linemen to be athletic.
Nice. I like it. Yeah, McGurtry, Pat McGurtry is a preseason award watch list for offensive linemen. So that makes sense that you've also picked up on him being a go-to guy as far as the offensive
more lineman love.
Yeah, there you go. They've got another guy on the opposite side of a Bush over there. I think he's a defensive lineman, if I'm not mistaken. And he's been disruptive. I've seen his, they're getting up from the pile and you're like, yep, that's Bush. He's in the backfield all the time. So the next game that we've got, the only other game we have for like your must-see games of the week is Southern Miss versus La Tech. And if you're on the East Coast and, maybe some of these newer programs that have come into the conference, we do know La Tech will be coming into the conference possibly as soon as next year. Still not confirmed yet. Definitely by 2027 that they is officially on the books. But this is a big-time, long history rivalry between these two. These two teams started playing back in 1935. So this isn't new. This isn't a game that's happened because La Tech thought about coming into the Sun Belt. This has been going on a long time, back in Conference USA days as well as probably the first time that these two teams were in the Sun Belt or whatever it was. The all-time series favors the Golden Eagles 36-17. So this is a matchup pretty much dominated by Southern Miss, but they haven't played in a while. Not too long, not as long ago as Liberty and JMU. The last game in this series was 2021, in which Southern Miss did win. What I'd like to see is kind of what you talked about. What do we know about Southern Miss so far? Yes, they got some gifts against App State, but they also did enough to win the game. And after that first half, really App stopped threatening when their number one quarterback was out. La Tech, TJ, I think you have in front of you what the favoritism is, either by ESPN, FPI, or the line on this game.
Let's take a look. So line is minus 3.5 to La Tech. Over under is 50.5 points. I'm taking the over for sure. based on what Southern Miss did to us, scoring 38 points. I'm certainly taking the over. I don't know that I like that line, though, for Louisiana Tech. I mean, I think Southern Miss wins it, and I think they cover.
I think the defense is something I'm really excited about for Southern Miss, and obviously they've got some good players that had come over that's helping that aspect. We saw that in full effect this past week against App State. As Sam has commented here, this game is on the road in Ruston, so it's not necessarily easy to go out there and play. We'll see. You know, this is going to be a conference game here again soon, so that's kind of got some intrigue for it right there. Destiny bringing up the last time they beat them. They were just 1-9 and literally had no quarterback. But you did have a guy named Frank Gore Jr. who was essentially your super back, right? I think that's what they call it. Okay. Yeah, he's all right. I mean, he just spent some time in the NFL.
Yeah, no big deal.
Oh, man. But Artie says 2 institutions full of Rhodes Scholars. I know that. Oh, yeah. Maybe just under the Ivy League there, Artie. I think maybe is what we'll see there. Destiny says you're switching it up, TJ. You're gonna jinx them.
No, I just don't like La Tech, to be honest, and I hate that they're gonna be in our conference.
Yeah. Well, it's inevitable. We just don't know exactly when. But this one, again, it's gonna be a little intriguing. I'm a little disappointed it's on ESPN Plus. I wanted to watch this one on network television because I have a feeling I'll be tuned into this one. Fan bases don't like each other. I'm not sure how much the players really have against each other because it hasn't, been played in a number of years. But we'll see if it picks up the heat and intensity real quick because we know of what is coming with them becoming a conference member here shortly. All right, the "You Better Win" section of the show. TJ's favorite saying: "Do it, lady."
Yeah, success.
Again, if you don't understand that reference, go look them up on the TikTok. I don't know if they're on other platforms. Is it only on TikTok?
Oh no, it's on TikTok. It's on I haven't seen them on Facebook yet, but it's certainly on Instagram.
Okay, so Instagram as well. All right. Well, go check that out if you enjoy the
and
Office
YouTube
type.
if you're a YouTuber.
Oh, okay, there you go. That one makes sense. All right, so winless Maine team travels to Statesboro. This one hosted by the Eagles. They just got their first win of the year against Jacksonville State this past week. Struggled a little bit to stop them defensively, but this is, again, a winless Maine team that's coming in that's still FCS. So this one should be a walk in the park for the Eagles, right, TJ?
Yeah, I would hope so. I mean, no disrespect to Maine, but those FCS schools, some of them, JMU notwithstanding, at one point anyway, they don't match up well. And Georgia Southern's not a bad football team. They just need to win this one.
Yeah, I agree. I don't foresee this. Can we talk about Maine's logo? Isn't that awful? You're the Black Bears, and your logo looks like a little black mouse or something. I don't think it looks like a bear to me. Does that look like a bear to you?
No, I get what they were trying to do. I get what they were going for. Like you want an angry you want an angry bear. But they just need to make him more berry, like bigger, like the face. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
or maybe just put a whole bear up there.
Well, here's the good one, and you know this one off the top of your head: Montana Grizzlies, right? That's a good bear mascot.
That's
or
a good
logo.
Bear. Yeah, that's a good bear.
This is Maine needs work on that. That's awful. It looks like something from back in the 80s, and they're just like, yeah, we'll just stick with it. But they need to change it. All right, another conference game coming up. I believe this is the only other conference game this week, if I'm not mistaken. But we've got Coastal Carolina traveling on the road to Mobile to play South Alabama, who we just saw compete pretty well with a ranked Auburn team.
Yep.
In their first ever matchup, surprisingly enough, as we've talked about before. TJ, I've got this as a must-win for both teams, really. I think it's more realistic that South Alabama must win because of how Coastal Carolina has looked up to this point. But I also think Coastal Carolina kind of has to have this because you got to show something, right?
Yeah, Coastal needs this game more than South Alabama does. South Alabama is coming off a loss that probably everyone predicted, right? Almost everyone except them inside of their field house predicted. Coastal has looked deplorable, has looked god awful. I mean, I didn't predict them to win against ECU. Also, shout out to my little bro, Coach Magazoo, he coaches the DBs at ECU. That's Dominick, the other Dominick Magazoo's younger brother. He coaches DBs there. But anyway, I never picked them to beat ECU. However, I didn't expect it to look like that. And, Coastal needs to win, but I don't think they're going to.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they're going to win either. I've liked what I've seen out of South Alabama all year. I think they continue that at the comfy confines of home. If anything, the reason this game could possibly be close is Coastal's defense has been playing pretty well. The problem is they're just on the field too much to sustain something, and they haven't had enough offensive help. Artie was making fun of the Coastal logo. He doesn't like that one particularly well. I actually have grown on that. It's got the chin thing that everyone's making fun of because it looks like a pair of testicles. It's real though, right? That's actually part of the animal, so it's realistic in that regard. I like the colors though. The Coastal colors are pretty superior to most. Like, you don't see that combination, and it works pretty well.
I know hate the field, but like the colors.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not huge on the teal field, but the uniform colors, they pop all together. One thing, he's not loving the Jags logo either. One thing that they did that was very minimal, but actually really improved their logo recently, is inside the mouth of the Jaguar, they had it filled with blue behind the teeth, and just kind of looked weird. It made it look really ovally, and they've taken that color out. It's a simple thing that they've done that I think improved the design. I don't think it blows me away necessarily, but I do think it makes the Jaguar look better overall, and has it like pop a little bit more because it's not filled in with another color behind it. So we'll see. Artie is warning us for the next game that the Colonels of Nicholls State better watch out. I agree with him. I think this is you better win, because Texas State did not play their best game. Artie agreed with that too, against Arizona State. In fact, I think Artie's words were something more along the lines of they played their worst game of the season against Arizona State. Credit to Arizona State. Yeah, credit to Arizona State for causing that. It's not like they didn't do anything to help that aspect of it. But yeah, TJ, is there going to be any competition on the field from Nicholls State, or do you think Texas State hammers them pretty good in this one?
Yeah, I think Texas State hammers them pretty good. They know that they need to win this game. They didn't put up a great performance last week, and Artie Cat knows it too. However, I don't see. Biggest offensive line in football, right? They're going to lean on these guys, get them real tired. It won't be close.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Especially, again, it's not like Texas State was going to travel to Nicholls, but they're certainly playing host here. They're going to want to light up that scoreboard, I think, for the fans in the home stadium. Okay, now we're going to round it out, which is kind of funny because we've got the most games on this portion of the show, but we do need to touch on everybody and what we kind of expect to see. The Ragin' Cajuns are going to travel up to Michigan. This is a return game from a season ago. In fact, I think these teams have played the last few seasons now, if I'm not mistaken here. This one is a 3:30 kickoff on ESPN+. Almost all the rest of the games are on ESPN+. We do have one more game that is on ESPNU, but I don't know. You look at the statistics here, and just about everything favors Eastern Michigan, right? We've seen the Cajun struggles out of the gate, losing their number one QB and not really picking up somebody who's blowing it out of the water. Their running game's still working decently, but the defense really hasn't been up to snuff as much as I thought they might be. But Eastern Michigan still not favored in this one. All that being said, it's still a Sun Belt team that's looked at as more powerful than a MAC team, and I believe EMU as actually winless in their last 5 games straight dating back to last season. So maybe that's playing a little aspect in this one too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And Vegas seems to agree with you. The line is -2.5 to Louisiana and 49.5 over under. So, I'm going to take the Cajuns. They bounce back. They win this game. I'm not going to say handily because Eastern Michigan is a pretty decent team this year, but they've been losing some games that, there's some head scratchers. So going with the Cajuns.
Yeah, I'm going to favor the Cajuns too. Missouri is not the litmus test, right? Missouri is a very good football team that is in the SEC, that it took some of the best players from other places in the country. We talked about Babula earlier from Penn State. Hardy comes in, a very underrated, under-recruited player who's kind of getting his shine now with Missouri. Coach Drink, a former App State guy, now over there. I mean, they're taking all these players and put together, some type of an all-star team out there in Columbia, Missouri. So that's not the greatest test here. And so I don't think there's any way the Cajuns have back-to-back games nearly that bad. And hopefully they look pretty good, in fact, when they can turn it around there. So we'll see if that happens. Another game where a Sun Belt team travels up to another MAC opponent in Troy, traveling up to Buffalo, New York. The Bulls are a pretty good team, and I think, let me see if I've got their 2-1 on the season, and we know Troy just fell to 1-2. Is this a team in Troy that's going to look more like they did against Clemson, or is this a team in Troy that's going to look more like they did against Memphis?
I'm going to predict probably, unfortunately, Memphis. And the reason I say that is because you're going all the way from the South, traveling up there to Buffalo. Again, it's not cold yet, but you're getting into the chappy season here soon. And I think Buffalo is going to be a little bit chillier. And then you factor that in with, Buffalo having a home game. They're already a pretty decent football team. The line right now is -6.5 to Buffalo. Vegas knows something that we obviously don't know. I haven't seen Buffalo play, but I have seen Troy play. And what I've watched from Troy last week and then the second half of that Clemson game, they haven't found themselves yet. And I don't know that they find themselves this week.
Yeah, it's going to be a little tough. The one thing that will, give us some hope on the Sun Belt side, the Troy side specifically too. They Buffalo played Minnesota 23-10 first game of the year. So that's pretty decent showing. I'm not really sure exactly where I put Minnesota as far as how great they are necessarily. They beat St. Francis easily, but we saw ULM do that. So, that's not necessarily just something that's going to hang their hat on. And then they beat Kent State, which could be one of the worst teams in all of college football, 31-28. So that was close. So right. I think this could be a real toss-up, and maybe I'd favor Buffalo simply because, like you said, TJ, they're traveling all the way up there. But
I think, I will say this: I think 6.5 is a lot.
Yeah,
I think 6.5 is a lot. I mean, that says that. I mean, usually in games like this, 3 points goes to the home team regardless. So they're saying that they're another 3 points ahead, 3.5 points ahead. I don't know. That seems like a lot to me.
Yeah, I'd agree. I don't know if I'd put it as that far, but it's really hard. Warren says if they don't win this one, he's not sure they'll win again this year. I don't think that'll be true. Even if you lose this one, the other thing we don't know, we talked about it earlier, the quarterback situation. What does that look like, right? That's going to be a huge advantage for Troy if you get Goose back, and if you don't, then that's going to be a hindrance because we saw what Kilchrist just did this past weekend. He could have a good game in rebound if he's the guy going forward, but you don't want to have to trust that to happen to go in there. Artie thinks they're going to get in there and get a win. Sam is asking if Parker becomes on the hot seat with a loss. I mean, I think I'll say this. I think with the fans, he becomes on the hot seat immediately because I think some fans are already putting him over there.
Yeah.
I don't think with the quarterback injury history you've had over the past 2 seasons, I'm not sure I'd be firing a coach over, the stuff he's run across. Again, the whole thing with the transfer portal too, it's still a little bit newer, especially for a first-time head coach. Like, I don't know. You got to give that guy at least 3-4 seasons, I feel like, before you really, truly know what they're capable of.
Yeah, I agree. You got to give him some time to get himself – and also, too, give him some time to let his guys develop, right? He's recruiting his guys now, but his guys aren't playing as much now, because of how, the youth and those kinds of things. So you got to give him a chance to win or lose with his own guys before you make a real evaluation.
Absolutely. Agree with that. Artie wants to know, speaking of horrible logos, Buffalo, I know the Bills have a good Buffalo logo, but they need to update their logo very badly. This one's cool, but to me, like, when you take a look at their logo, there's really nothing behind it. So, like, there's no extra color. It's all one color. Yeah. It's all blue. I understand that's the school colors, but, like, give me some black or some white or maybe both to kind of have the eyes stand out a little bit more, or the horns, or something. I don't know, something a little bit more. I like the logo overall. Like if you had that on a, it kind of looks like the Rock's tattoo of the Brahma Bowl to some extent.
Well, I mean, it's the Chicago Bulls logo.
Yeah, there you go. That's why it looks familiar there too. Yeah, it's a good point. But theirs had a little bit. Didn't they have red, white, and black in their logo?
Yeah, that's why that's what's leaving you wanting more in this one, because Chicago Bulls are 3 colors. This one's just blue, which whatever, I guess.
Yeah, I mean it's still good looking. I just think it could be better with a little bit more, but not too much more. Just colors, like just change some stuff in the background there. Artie does like the Buffalo Sabres logo. It's fantastic. Come on, University of Buffalo. Yeah, the Sabres, they've had some misses. The goat head logo, for those hockey fans out there that know what that one looks like. I didn't hate that one. A lot of people did. But that was kind of a miss as far as their fan base was concerned. All right, back to the football. Arkansas State traveling to the Atlanta area to play Kennesaw State. As Artie said, a lot of these he feels like are kind of must-wins for Sunbelt teams. I kind of feel that way, but I also feel like this could be a sneaky good game between Arkansas State and Kennesaw State, because both teams have played some teams kind of above and below where they're going to be. Now we're going to see two teams that are really probably more along the same wavelength as far as talent is concerned. But TJ, thoughts on this game between the Red Wolves and oh God, what's Kennesaw's mascot? I'm going blank on that right now.
I don't know. Let's find
Owls.
out.
The Owls. That's it.
Yeah, Owls. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna take, I'm gonna take Arkansas State. I would like to see them win it. And I think they've got enough. They've got a good enough team to make that happen. I think up front, I couldn't believe that A-State isn't more than a touchdown favorite. Well, let's look. Let's take a look and see what we got going on here. Yeah, well, yeah, -4.5. So yeah, less than a touchdown favorite. I don't know that I agree with that either, Ben. I think I was going to say App State, Arkansas State. Certainly not App State the way we've been playing. I think Arkansas State goes up there, and I think they give them a really good game, and I think they come out win. And I'm going to take the over.
Okay, I like that. I like that aggressiveness. So to look at Kennesaw State as kind of the opponent coming in, they did go to Wake Forest, and remember this game. You're going to remember this when I say this, TJ. They went to Wake Forest and only lost 10-9 to start the season.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that
team.
And that's the same Wake Forest team that had NC State down 14-0 at halftime.
Yep, exactly. Ben also wants to know, since we are talking Arkansas State, thoughts on the phantom hold call for A-State versus Iowa State. Did you see that specifically?
No, I was going to say I missed that because my son had football and I was coaching. So when I got back home, it was towards the end of the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there was a call, and it was definitely the wrong call, unless it was somebody else on the line. They called number 50. They have a great replay from the back angle where you can see him just block the guy. I mean, there's no hold at all, unless it's up inside the pads, which, I mean, no one ever calls that, right? Like that happens on every play. But right. There was no obvious hold. He doesn't take him to the ground. There's no where he can't get around him. So I'm not sure where the flag came from. But it definitely wasn't on number 50. That's for sure. If it was somebody else on the line, I didn't see it there either, but could it have been outside of the camera angle? Possibly. They definitely got the number wrong at the very least. And yeah, it was one where he already went across this with Ben on the wrap-up show, but it was one where Rayner ended up scrambling into the end zone for a touchdown. So it was a big call to bring back, because it could have brought A-State even closer there. But yeah, unfortunately, that is what happened there. Artie Cat says, give a hoot, don't pollute. Hootie the Owl. That's quite the name. Quite the name there for Kennesaw State's Owl. But interesting. Ben says Wake isn't good. Yeah, Wake's usually not good. But regardless, they went on the road at their place at the first game of the season, in which Wake would probably be expected to win by double-digit touchdowns, and they kept it to a 1-point game. And I believe Kennesaw even possibly had a chance to win there at the end. So they also played Indiana earlier this year. They lost 56-9. So that one's not going to be one you want to write home about. But they just beat Merrimack 27-13. So again, what do we know about Kennesaw State? The most we know is the close game against Wake because they got blown out in the following week, and then they beat somebody they should have. So, again, this is what I like to see this matchup because it's going to tell us a little bit more about both teams. Okay, Marshall takes on Middle Tennessee. Kind of a regional game of sorts. I don't think this has got a lot of history between it, but I'm pretty sure the two teams have played a few times before. Again, we think we know that Carlos Del Rio Wilson is going to be the quarterback going into this one, but I don't know if there's a heavy favorite in this one. TJ, do you have that part in front of you right now?
I do. Marshall -2.5, so pretty even line,
Okay.
and that's the game is in Tennessee, so that's giving Marshall some love going down to Murfreesboro to win the game -2.5. So Vegas thinks pretty highly of Marshall, which we do not at the current state. But, that says a lot about what people are thinking. I think Marshall – the problem with Marshall is that, like you said, and I think we both said this at the beginning of the year, Marshall could be, 8-4, or Marshall could be 4-8, right? Like we don't know who they are, and I don't think they know who they are, and that's the problem. So would it surprise me if Marshall won this game by 2 touchdowns? Absolutely not. Would it surprise me if they lost by 2 touchdowns? No, it wouldn't, because I don't know who Marshall is. Marshall doesn't even know who they are.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. They just haven't found their identity just yet, which makes sense. I'm not saying we need to know, right? Like, we want to know. Marshall fans certainly want to know. But they have a brand new coach, first-time head coach at that, with a bunch of transfers to come and help fill out that roster. So you're right. I mean, nothing would surprise me in this one. I hope Sam is correct here as he comments and says Sun Belt is greater than Conference USA. We better be, because we've been pushing this narrative for a while that the Sun Belt is the best group of 5 conference because we want to be, but we also think it's true. Unfortunately, this year, we haven't had the best of starts. A lot of people are putting the American and the Mountain West still above us. Got to start doing things more repetitive against these lesser teams, lesser conferences to gain the respect that we so badly want across this board. So Marshall victory here would be huge for that to continue. One we're not likely to see, TJ, but we did see last year was Georgia State beating Vanderbilt. However, this year they're on the road at Vanderbilt in the Nashville area, and Vanderbilt happens to be ranked this time around with a little quarterback called Diego Pavia or something, some guy who just is an incredible little athlete. Whether you like, love, or hate him, you do have to respect his game, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a guy that can get around. He's shifty. He's going to give Georgia State all the problems that they want or don't want in this regard. But Vanderbilt's pretty good this year. Vanderbilt's had some quality wins. Obviously ranked 20th right now, but they've beaten Charleston Southern, which is nobody. They beat Virginia Tech, but then they went down and beat number 11 ranked South Carolina 31-7. Okay, yeah. That's not just winning. That's winning convincingly. And so I think they've earned the 20th spot, and I think that bodes horribly for Georgia State. I keep wanting to call Georgia State Georgia Southern.
They love when you do that. They love it when that happens.
Of course they do. They like to have Georgia Southern's history.
There you go. Artie Cat saying Dr. Finley and the Panthers have this game, no problem. I mean, that if anything, that could be Vandy Pim. That could be, a little bit of a tool that's on their side, right? TJ Finley has been on this team and gotten going a little bit. Can he get going even further? Can he get those play types that he's had in the past with Texas State when he led that offense to a great year statistically? Can he do that with these guys over there in Atlanta? We'll have to see. It's still too early again to tell. On
Vegas says no by 27.5 points. Just so we're all on the same page.
And really, it's not. I mean, like you said, they beat South Carolina 31-7. They did knock out Sellers in that game pretty early, I believe. So you are going against the number 2 quarterback. But here's the downside. Georgia State got hammered by Ole Miss, who was ranked 21. So if you think that the AP has anything kind of right in the rankings and these two teams are anywhere close to each other, that doesn't bode well. Then they got beat by Memphis 38-16. So they actually kept the Memphis game closer than Troy did. I mean, there's something to throw out there. And then they beat Murray State last week. So, that one's not going to write home. And honestly, they didn't really blow them out of the water. They won 37-21. But,
right. So
maybe
not
we
really,
wanted to see a little bit more. I mean, that was a Murray State team. Yeah. A Murray State team that had 0 wins coming in. So,
right.
Not something you want to see anywhere close to one another. Okay, we're going to round out this weekly preview with ULM versus UTEP. UTEP 1-2 on the season coming in. UL Monroe is 1-1. They haven't played that third game. This one in the Sun Bowl, in El Paso, Texas, Saturday night, 9 Eastern, 8 Central time. Oh, I mean, is the early season bye week for ULM a positive here? Do you think like UTEP could be rolling and being at home? You can lean that way.
I think UTEP is rolling and being at home. I think they put up a pretty good game against Texas last week. Now, I will say this: Arch Manning was awful, absolutely terrible against UTEP. I don't know how they didn't put 40 at least on UTEP. That said, I don't know that ULM has enough. Now to that end, UTEP also lost to Utah State, who's not ranked, and then they beat a University of Tennessee Martin. I don't even know who they are, so that doesn't tell me much. So I don't really know who UTEP is. I do know what I saw against what I saw against Texas, and what I saw against Texas was 2 things. Number one, a UTEP team that didn't quit. Number 2, a Texas team that was led by a quarterback that maybe isn't all the way there yet. So I can't quite put my finger on it, but if I had to pick, I'm going ULM. And let's take a look at the line while we have it. Vegas agrees with me. UTEP -6.5. So we'll see. Not
bad. Yeah, I think this one's you hate to say this because it's kind of like the easy answer here, but like this, to me, this is one of those games that goes one of 2 ways. Either ULM comes out refreshed, very, chemistry is good, and they start way hot, and they can kind of control the game with how they run the ball more than they throw the ball, right? But then on the opposite side of that, if you don't hit on all cylinders and you start slow against a team at home who's possibly, a little bit better than you as far as the statistics say right now, I don't know if ULM has the offense to play catch up and come from behind to win. Artie thinks UTEP wins as well. He thinks ULM just isn't going to be able to compete with their budget. I think this is more of the bigger picture at this point, though, right? He sees them being asked to leave or kicked out soon if they don't get some big money fast. And some people do speculate that is why the La Tech invitation came, in case maybe that happens with ULM. You've still got 2 teams in Louisiana. La Tech.
We need to everything. We need ECU.
Yeah, well, and I think that's part of the draw. Maybe is that ECU gains like La Tech back, right? If that were to happen, I think it's far too early to predict. I don't know if we've ever seen anybody actually get kicked out of a conference. We did have some teams in the Sun Belt previously that were kind of like helped out the door, I would say. But I think most of the teams kind of wanted to leave anyways. Travel expenses weren't going to make sense for Idaho and New Mexico State to stay in the conference. So we'll see. Sam says needs spreads and totals on the slides. We can do that. We can start adding that if that's what people want as far as like the betting aspect. We did do that last year a little bit, TJ.
Well, we didn't have it on the – oh, yeah, we did. We did have it on the slides.
We did. The one downside was when you if I prepare these earlier, sometimes if I'm making them at the time, it does. Yeah, it moves. And sometimes if you check Tuesday when I want to make some of this ahead of time, it ain't out yet. Just depends on the week and what the game is, or if they're waiting to see if a quarterback's going to play or whatnot, something really important. I wouldn't mind doing that. I wouldn't even mind, if we add a little betting section, but if we do it along the way too, I guess that works. But again, you guys live comment, send us messages, tweet at us, whatever. I guess it's still called a tweet, even though they changed the name to X, right? It's still called a tweet.
I have no idea. I rarely get on it. Also, one other thing. Speaking of, I know we're about to hop off air here, but speaking of must wins for Coastal, we talked about it a little bit earlier on our Do It Lady segment. Vegas doesn't believe that Coastal has a chance. The line for the South Alabama Coastal game is -15.5 USA. That's a lot. That's telling me that they don't think highly of Coastal at all.
I would take that in a heartbeat if you want me to be honest with you. What I saw against Auburn was bigger guys on the opposite side who were stronger and well coached.
Sure.
I don't think you're going to see that out of Coastal Carolina against South Alabama. So I do think I would take that in a heartbeat because I haven't seen anything out of it.
You saying you're taking the 15.5?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying Coastal doesn't cover the spread. Okay. I'm with you. I mean, from what I've seen, Coastal doesn't look good at all. But 15.5 just seems like a lot, man. That's zero respect. That is no
respect.
That's
a lot. Yeah. It's a lot.
Obviously they're playing at home. They're in Mobile, so that's 3 points, right? However, golly, even if the line was 12.5, that'd still be a lot. I don't know.
True. I think the thing that I'm leaning towards, and I'm taking defense out on both sides, but if you line me up a roster and you told me you have Bishop Davenport, Kentrell Bullock, Devin Vyson, all on your side offensively, like those weapons, I'm leaning pretty heavily in that favor against a lot of teams. Not just, this isn't like talking down on Coastal. I'm thinking South Alabama is going to be a really good team in this conference this year, from what I've seen early on. That's not taking into account injuries and everything else. But Warren's saying, as far as the aspect of the betting lines, make the line on the last slide on all games to be able to add it late. I like that too. Maybe it's a clean look too, right? Like make it like the betting section, and we just talk about those lines real quick. Talk about the game a little bit earlier, and just kind of take a yes or no approach on what we think, right?
Yeah, I'm with that. I'm gonna look at them anyway because I got money on them, most of them.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Oh man, yeah, I like that. I've seen people say they don't want it included, but I think I've seen more people that say they do. And if that's something of interest, I'm all for it. I think it's an easy ad and something we'd like to get into. So
and we can maybe help some people win some money. Who knows?
There you go. And if you lose, we're not responsible.
That is a fact. Don't blame it on us.
Nope. It wasn't us. Be responsible with your own money. Any last words or wisdom to part with here, TJ, before we get out of here?
As usual, thanks guys for checking us out another week. This is fun. We love doing it. We love bringing you these updates. We love bringing you these scores and highlights. I love talking ball, period. I love talking with you. Hope you guys get a lot out of that. Those segments where I'm breaking down plays. It's fun for me just because I'm a football guy, but I'm also just a talking head. So take it for what it's worth. But we appreciate you guys for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Always my favorite part of the show. And I think a lot of other people's as well. So thanks for tuning in or listening and downloading. We appreciate it. And until Sunday night, we'll see you for the wrap.